lay across the bed. I don't know. I think that beginning part got in because it just went live again. Something's fucking up with this. But so back to depression mode. Last week was the only good episode it seemed like we've
We'll
had.
never smile again.
What's that?
We'll never smile again.
No, you can't. You can't until the Eagles win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So
You know what I call? I was talking to my dad, and I said this basically. Anytime that Eagles fans in general have any sort of like, oh man, this is really great about whatever, a play, a drive, a player, a coach, a team, a season, an off season, whatever it is, as soon as the Eagles fans go, hey, this feels good, the exact opposite happens. I mean, from anything. Pick something small. Steve Smith, when we brought him over to the Giants, we're like, nice move. Wow, he could not have been a worse player ever. Errol Owens.
actually, that's not true. He could have been Miles Austin.
I think he was.
That's true.
Yeah. But
We
like,
all hated Miles Austin at the time, and he's been worse than we expected.
right? Even stuff we hate is worse. But T.O., it was so great. And, like, definitely one of the best wide receiver quarterback combos in the entire NFL. Probably for its generation, even though if it was for 1 year, completely down the drain. Nothing worked out. I mean, everything just sucks so much. Anytime we get excited about something, I think the best moment of the Eagles season so far was preseason, that Game 3 against the Packers, because it was the last time I felt like the Eagles were good. So.
I think it's my fault because I celebrated so much on that Jordan Matthews touchdown. I got a letter in the mail from Rosemary Plorin telling me to chill out because her daughter doesn't know how to react.
How am I supposed to explain to my son or daughter that...
To be fair, she thought you were black, Austin.
That's true.
He was like, how can I explain that a black man is dancing to my kid?
He might have money also.
What a spoiled brat.
Do you guys remember when Cam Newton was at Auburn and he was caught up in that scandal, and everyone would call him Scam Newton, and they acted like he was a member of ISIS for I don't know, talking to...
He stole a computer.
An agent or some
shit?
shit?
Is that what he did?
Yeah, he stole a computer at Florida and he got kicked out, right?
Yeah, no, but that wasn't the... No. There was I
thought it was an academic thing where he was kind of getting his classes fluffed or something. I don't know.
I thought it was. I thought he was getting paid to go there or some shit.
Yeah,
but,
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but still, it's ridiculous. It's in retrospect, it's who gives a fuck.
I hope they all get paid, to be honest with you. Reggie Bush is my favorite college player of all time because he got paid.
Yeah.
Fuck the NCAA forever.
The cool thing is when Penn State fans, and being a Penn State fan, I know, they're like, well, our players are smart and research grants and whatever else. And I'm like, I literally don't give a shit if you hire a bunch of criminals and give them money. I just want to win a national championship. Who cares?
John Urschel actually taught a class when he was at Penn State. But a fun fact about him is he never won a BCS Bowl, so fuck him.
You know what? He was pretty good, though, and he's been pretty good for the Ravens. But
No, he is good. It was just...
But, that's the thing. It's Penn State, they won't recruit bad guys. I'm like, oh, they should start doing that because they keep fucking losing games, and that's the most important
The
thing.
U was awesome, and anybody who hates the U loves Fox News.
I actually didn't like the U, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it because I had friends that rooted for them, and I wanted all of them to be very sad. So
that's fair.
Very different. Jumping into the Eagles. Let's start immediately. Should Chip Kelly be fired? No. But is he the right guy?
Right now, I don't know. I feel like he's been GM for one offseason. They had a lot of holes last offseason. He created some more holes, to be fair. But I think give me one more offseason, give me one more season, and then maybe next year, if things aren't looking up, then you make a move.
It's amazing that we literally ask this every week. We go back and forth between he's the guy and fuck this guy. I remember after the I think when they started 1-3 when they lost to the Redskins, the articles were Chip Kelly is not the guy. Chip Kelly's a bad GM. Chip Kelly's this. Then they win some games, and then it's like Chip Kelly's. You got to give him credit. You got to give his moves are coming to fruition on the field, and then it's like it's right back to where we started. So overall, I mean, no, he hasn't done anything as a GM to justify being a good job. He's gotten rid of two players in Mathis and Macklin that were good, and then he downgraded at both positions. So obviously they're huge positions. It's hard. I mean, it doesn't help
I
that.
necessarily agree that he. All right, let's take a look at the defense. Something that is not his forte. Chip Kelly realized right away we don't have personnel good enough to play on defense. And as a defensive guy, you see a lot of times these defensive coaches, they don't need or get good players, in theory, because they feel like their scheme and their system can just play them right out of it. Chip is doing the exact same thing on offense.
Yeah.
Look at defense right now. He went out and got great players.
Yeah, no. Maxwell's been great, but
he identified talented players in the draft.
Thurman, yeah.
Every time he makes a decision for the offense, it's worse. Outside of trading Nick Foles. Well, we got back his garbage, but it doesn't matter. Or at least he got rid of him. But we have downgraded in almost every capacity since 2013 because he believes in his dictatorship of offense.
But here's the thing. If you believe in that, and then you continue to play guys like Miles Austin and Riley Cooper, I mean, like, obviously anyone can't just be thrown in there. It's already been proven. Riley Cooper's been proving this for 2 years now.
Hasn't caught a ball since October 16th. October 9th.
He's a starting wide receiver.
He's a 2. He's a 2.
It's so bad. It really is. Chip Kelly, when he first came here, he felt like an X factor. We felt like we had Chip Kelly, and he was the most important piece of everything we did.
But here's the thing. His system still does work. Dude, there were guys running wide open the other day. Those first 2 drives were fucking ridiculous, but there is no
better personnel. They need better personnel. And also, the Dolphins are awful. And that's the thing. Nobody was running wide open against the Carolina Panthers. Nobody. Because they're a decent team. They're a good team. But what happened was they had better talent than we did. And that's the problem. In the NFL, like, I don't think people figured out Chip Kelly. I don't think you can slow his offense down when it's clicking. But they have figured out, like I said, and I shouldn't say figured out, he has, what people are right about Chip Kelly is that he is arrogantly pushing his system over getting talented players. And it does not work in the NFL. You cannot run Riley Cooper out there. You can't do it. Couldn't put Reno
To be fair,
Mike
a lot of this isn't
Mark Simon, whatever.
a lot of this isn't just him ignoring positions. It's just he spent a high draft pick on Josh Huff. He spent a high draft pick on Aguilar and Zach Ertz, and they all look average at best.
I think it's too early to say about Aguilar, but he hasn't been able to come in and play right away.
Yeah. And it's a tough decision to come in and play right away. That's usually the exception more than the rule.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Jordan Matthews, when was the last time? It was Deshaun Jackson and Jordan Matthews are the only 2 Eagles wide receivers I can ever remember in history who were able to play as rookies and be effective. So
for the Eagles.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. For the Eagles, I mean, that's what our, how we can gauge it. I mean, obviously, yeah, Odell Beckham Jr. came in. He's one of the fucking best wide receivers in football. It's like, the Eagles have never had, they've never drafted a fucking wide receiver in the first 10 picks or 15 picks or whenever he was picked. So, what I'm trying to say is, Aguilar was, he was 20th pick?
I forget. I think it was 20 exactly.
Yeah, 20th pick. So, I mean, you would like him to be able to come in and play right away, but he hasn't been able to. So, instead of doing that, why don't you have a fucking insurance policy? You can't expect a rookie just to come in and play right away. That's bad GMing. That's bad coaching. Don't pick up Miles Austin.
Well, this is the thing. Everyone says, well, he's not a bad coach. He's struggling as a GM. I'm like, the reason he's a bad GM is because he's overvaluing himself and his system as a coach. He thought, I'll bring in another wide receiver. they'll go for 1,000 yards. I'm a great coach. This is a great system. Bada bing, bada boom. It's great. I'll bring in Miles Austin, veteran leadership. I'll make him great, no problem. Because he's thinking that as a coach, he's a bad GM, which tells me he's a bad talent evaluator on offense. And guess what? In college, you can use Josh Huff because he's probably more athletic than everybody else, especially in the Pac-12. So when you throw him the ball, yeah, it's an 80-yard pass because he can run faster than everybody else. In the NFL, it's pretty obvious. Josh Huff is a dime a dozen player, and I love Josh Huff. I thought he was going to be pretty good. So it's proving to be he's going to have to adjust at some point and realize in the NFL, unless you have an elite quarterback like Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers, you're going to also need at least B average skill position players. And right now, outside of the running back position, which is top heavy in general, I think we're at a D. All the way across the board, from wide receiver, quarterback, offensive line, tight end. I think it's, and then mixed with the running backs, I would say a C minus because they're better. But overall, those other positions probably a D. Good luck winning in the NFL like that. Seriously.
Yeah, it's
or not.
Yeah, and it you're definitely right. But I mean, there isn't any answer that you're going to get right now. There isn't any. No one is going to be. You're not going to be able to sign anyone. Trading deadlines passed.
Yep.
This is what you have for the rest of the season. So it's going to be a pretty long season.
Well, here's one thing. We'll do some tweets of the week really quick. This one's from Noah Becker, and he tweeted it right after the game, I think, the other night. He said, the Eagles losing games to Dan Quinn, Jay Gruden, and Dan Campbell this year seems like a coaching issue to me. And yes, the fuck it does. Because in no way is losing to those literal idiots acceptable in any way. Like, it's not like, well, any given something. No. Beat the hell out of those teams. Those teams are garbage. And you crush them. If you're a good team, you crush them. The other one is it's talking about the quarterbacks. Somebody tweeted Eagles Rewind. This is Ben Morley 1. So thank you, Ben, obviously, for definitely watching our show. He said, I think Sanchez is better than Bradford, but I feel like every Browns fan in the last 20 years arguing about it. And that isn't that the truth? Like, we spent all this time going, is Bradford, is he good? Is he bad? Is Sanchez okay? Was Brady full? What are we, the Browns? Is that what we are now?
I talked myself into Kevin Cobb. I talked myself into Mike Vick. I talked myself into Nick Foles. I talked myself into Sam Bradford. We're the Browns.
Like, here's the thing. If you take away, like I saw somebody today, it's like, if you take away the hits and the block and the batted balls and the drops, and also when he was hit while throwing, he's actually the 7th most accurate quarterback in the league. I'm like, seriously, how much do you have to understand how ludicrous that is? That is ridiculous.
If you take Sam Bradford and you put him in Jake Gyllenhaal's bubble from Bubble Boy, he'll never throw an incompletion.
You take Sam Bradford and you put him in the locker room and you put Aaron Rodgers on the field, Sam Bradford is the #1 quarterback in the NFL. Wow. What a stat. Heard it from ESPN.
No, but
I mean,
I do think I thought he played well until he got hurt last game. I thought he played well last
He wasn't.
week.
He had 3 or 4 stall drives in a row. We don't even remember because he got hurt. But the offense was dead at that point. We weren't doing anything. Getting hurt was like a blessing because we started moving the ball again with Sanchez. Seriously, we forget. But that offense was completely dead after the first 2 or 3 drives.
I feel like a lot of that was they just started blowing up the O-line. Just like, okay, let's just send 5 guys at Dennis Kelly.
Bradford was gonna die no matter what. That was a horrible performance by the offensive line. But
Jason Kelsey's been our worst player this year. How about that? No, Miles Austin has been worse. Jason Kelsey's been second.
Yeah, but my expectation for Miles Austin was that he was going to be garbage. My expectation for Jason Kelsey is that he's an all-pro. And he's not only not an all-pro, but he might be one of the weakest offensive linemen in the NFC right now. And I'm sure everyone would defend the hell out of him, but he's been abysmal. High snaps.
He'll admit that. I mean, he said he's been terrible.
Yeah, he's even admitting it. And he said he didn't play well last year either, so maybe it's just not that good.
You know what I think happened? He had a lot of those soft tissue injuries. And if you get too much of them, you lose some of your power. Some of that, it zaps some of you. And as a smaller offensive lineman, where he really could not lose any more power than he had, he was utilizing his quicknesses and intelligence. I think it's been a big issue. I think the Eagles should look into replacing their center in the offseason.
Cannot Cannot argue with that. But no, going back to what you were saying, last week Jason said that he would draft a quarterback every single year until you got one.
Every round.
Every round.
Every round.
And the
I
more I
would
think
never.
about it, the more I'm like, it's not. I mean, obviously, that is fucking crazy, but at the same time, you can't win without like. Look at every good team in the NFL right now. They have not gone like if they don't have a quarterback first, and the Eagles had that mindset. That's why they went out and they got Sam Bradford. That's why they got rid of Nick Foles. And I appreciate that. I still think it was worth the risk, and I think
I
most
think
people
so
would agree.
too. It's a gamble you have to make because there was no alternative.
Exactly. So
He
there
was the
are no
best
alternatives.
available.
Your best when your best option is I don't know Ryan Fitzpatrick, who's like
Or
basically
Brian Hoyer.
yeah Brian Hoyer. These guys are just like probably Sam Bradford, but willing to throw the ball down the field. Better. They wouldn't have anyone around, no talent around them. They both have talent around them now, and they're above average.
Yeah.
But what I was trying to say was like, think about when the Panthers had Jimmy Clausen, they drafted him in the second round, and they're like, oh, after what was it, 1 year, and they're
I
like,
think
fuck
so.
this guy, he sucks. They got rid of him. I like that mindset. You need to be like that in the NFL. I don't care if the Eagles have a different quarterback every year for the next 5 years. If you don't find the guy, just keep moving on. Keep moving on. It's what the Cardinals did. It's what the fucking Panthers did. It's what I mean. The
What
Bengals
the
lost
Browns
the fucking
do.
what?
It's what the Browns do.
Yeah, but the
Last
Browns
12
also,
years.
the Browns are a really special case because if you look
I
at
know.
other, they're very successful. And what Porter also said last night, which is a little part he's leaving out, is that when you have a quarterback that's playing well, draft a fucking another quarterback. Like the Packers just drafted Brett Hundley. Great job. The Patriots just drafted Jimmy Garoppolo. Great job.
Exactly.
Because if anything else, they'll be able to flip
Yeah,
them
the
from here.
Patriots do that all the time. They did it with Matt Castle. They did it with Ryan Mallett. They did it with. You're always drafting new guys in case you never fucking know. Your quarterback could turn into Peyton Manning.
You know what? And two other things that I know Kaepernick didn't work out, but you draft Kaepernick and he was able to succeed Alex Smith and give you another element that you were missing. And guess what? They went to a fucking Super Bowl. It happened. I know, it's crazy. Look at the Ravens. They drafted Tyrod Taylor, who I know he's not playing for the Ravens because Flacco's still there, turned it out to be a very good quarterback. They're the Seattle Seahawks. They had Matt Flynn, and they drafted Wilson anyway.
That was my other example. They had Matt Flynn. They
Yeah.
gave him all this fucking money, and then they were like, look, if we think Russell Wilson can be good, we're going to fucking draft him. And he beat him out his rookie year. So this is – I like the aggression, but they need to continue to just do this every year. Like I said, I don't care if they have which they have. I mean, what is this, like their fourth starter or Bradford's their third starter?
And
Fourth?
McNabb, Cobb, Vick, Foles, Bradford, Sanchez. Has anybody else played? Barkley,
Vince Young.
Vince Young. Well, yeah, Vince Young.
He played.
He did.
7, 8 quarterbacks. 8 quarterbacks.
Crazy.
But yeah, if they decide to move on from Bradford, which I don't even know what I'd do at this point, but I wouldn't maybe take a flyer on a Kaepernick and an RG3 with a draft pick. Bring in.
I don't think you need both guys. I think if you're going to take anybody, you're going to take the guy that's most durable, and the guy that
Kaepernick.
if his arm falls off, can he still play? Yes, because you could just line him up and run Wildcat all the time. You know what I mean? With RG3, one hit to his dread, and he's done.
I think RG3 is the much better quarterback, but doesn't matter.
I mean, I'm just saying if you're gonna move on, keep Sanchez. Sign either one of them because they're both low risk. They both won't cost you much, and take a draft pick too and let them all compete.
Yeah, I mean, realistically,
drafting 4 or 5 quarterbacks at a time and just going through, but at least 2. They should be
Anybody but Tebow. Just keep bringing in more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, they had Tebow and he went to the playoffs, and the Broncos were not afraid to move on from him. Immediately they went, this guy's fucking literal garbage, and immediately moved on. Luckily they had Peyton Manning, but they were going to move on from him anyway. They drafted Brown.
How happy do you think John Elway was when he got Peyton Manning? Because otherwise he would have been run out of town because everybody there loved Tim Tebow.
Everybody there eats a fuck ton of mayonnaise, and they're not going to give their Denver Broncos, so it didn't matter at all. It's like It's seriously, it's like, I don't even have a comparison, but they wouldn't do anything except for watch that team play, all those fucking male lords out there. They can bitch all they want about Tim Tebow. They're going to be tuning in on Sunday wearing their stupid orange and blue, so who cares?
I think I agree with that you should have all three quarterbacks. You should draft a player. You should pick up a free agent, and you should keep one of the two, either Sanchez or Bradford. This is really Sanchez's. The next 2 or 3 games, depending if he plays in that Patriots game. This is his audition for next year. If he comes out and he is serviceable, if he can win 2 of the 3 games, if he can not turn the ball over every time he's down there, if he can generate this offense like he did when he started last year, I think that I'm okay with bringing him back next year and letting Bradford go. I mean, I don't think that Sam Bradford's and he has improved. He certainly has. But at a certain point, it's like, when are you going to fucking be consistent? When are you going to throw downfield? When are you going to get this offense moving, even like Sanchez did when he came in? It's all firing on all cylinders, and sometimes he gets crazy, and sometimes he fumbles, and sometimes he throws interceptions, but at least he's fucking pushing it down the field.
Well, the one thing about throwing the deep ball or throwing it downfield is to who right now?
No, I'm not saying throwing the deep ball. I'm saying
just getting the offense to go.
Not checkdowns, I guess is what it is. I've seen a lot. When Bradford plays, even when he's playing well, he's extremely accurate and extremely timid. The balls that he's throwing are easy completions. They're right over the middle, wide open wide receiver, between that 6 and 10 yards. I remember when Michael Vick took over, and then when Nick Foles took over in his first year, and we had all that chunky yardage. I mean, it was literally like the Eagles were exploding down the field, like to the point where I was like, holy shit, this is going to be the best offensive revolution of all time. And now, obviously, we have seen it is not the case. Bradford doesn't inspire me at all. I think he sucks. I think that he is garbage, and I think him getting hurt is a blessing in disguise. I think you're going to see Sanchez come in and play better. I do.
The thing about Kaepernick is we know he's limited as a passer, but it would be really interesting to see how this offense moves with the read option.
I just don't if you're going to get a quarterback, don't get him because he can run. That's my thing.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're get a quarterback who can throw the fucking football. That's what quarterbacks do.
Yeah,
there's only one Cam Newton.
He keeps trying to fit this square key in a round hole. Guess what? His offense all the time in college had at least a quarterback that could move. He has never had a quarterback that can pull the ball. Well, Vic for a little bit, but he died immediately. But the pull the ball down from a read option and take a safe 6 yards.
But that's on him, dude. I mean,
yeah, it is. But listen, I want to see what it looks like. Go get yourself a mobile quarterback that can do that. Stop pretending that these guys, these old school pocket guys that, number one, aren't good anyway, and number two, are immobile completely, that can barely manipulate the pocket, let alone
think about the guys who he's had the chance to get. He could have fucking got Tyrod Taylor. I know it's easy to say that now. Tyrod Taylor wanted to play for the Eagles, and Chip Kelly was signed Tim Tebow instead. Okay, so not only did he sign Tim Tebow, but we're all arguing to get Colin Kaepernick because he can run. Colin Kaepernick fucking sucks, dude. I'm sorry. He's trash, dude. He's regressed every year.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like
as every quarterback under Chip Kelly.
You want to get Colin Kaepernick because you think he can pass and he can run? Fine. Get someone who can be mobile, like you're saying. Get fucking Ryan Fitzpatrick. He can kind of run. Get Alex Smith. He can kind of run.
Not Alex Smith, but I would
that's what I'm saying is, like, if you think those guys are good passers, don't get someone who you know is a bad passer just because he can run. You might as well
I absolutely would take Ryan Fitzpatrick next year in a heartbeat.
I would too.
I would draft Jacoby Brissett in the first round. I don't care if he grades out to be a 6th-round talent. I'm taking the quarterback in the first round next year. I don't care if they reach for him or anything. Take a quarterback in the first round. You'll have Fitzpatrick for a year. You'll have Sanchez for, I think it was 2 more years, and you'll have that draft pick in between somewhere.
I'll take Jay Cutler.
I would take Jay Cutler. I would trade for him in the offseason, honestly. I think he's awesome. Jay Cutler rocks. And guess what? People don't like him because he's a dick. Who cares? Wins. The Bears' offense is definitely the best in the NFC North right now, and that should scare everybody, honestly.
That's actually hard to believe, but I think you're right.
I read an article on it today. Anyway,
So do you want to talk a little bit about Cam Newton and Rosemary? Was it Rosemary Florin?
Florence,
yeah.
the Mayo Lord.
I don't understand why people feel the need to be afraid of, how should I put it? Black people, I guess. Why are they afraid of a successful black man? And who cares? Like, what is dancing? Like, what is about the arrogance? It's almost like you can succeed, but you better be nice about it. Like, okay, a slave owner?
Only we can act this way because we were born to deserve it because the color of our skin.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Everybody in the whole NFL dances at this point. It's ridiculous. Every time Aaron Rodgers goes down,
they made a fucking commercial out of it.
Yeah. Literally. Also, Cam Newton is an awesome dancer. He's amazing. Yeah.
He's dabbing like crazy, dude.
He should do the halftime show and play in the Super Bowl this year.
Dude, that would be awesome.
He could be the new left shark.
Tim Tebow went down to one knee on the field in the middle of the game, and people were like, "What a wonderful thing!" I'm like, he looks like an idiot.
My favorite part about this was earlier, someone made their Facebook status something about it, like, who the fuck cares? Like, he's having fun type thing. And do you remember Matt from Berks, the RA, Jason, the one cool Matt, cool for an RA? No,
cool Matt. Thanks for watching, Cool Matt.
He commented on there and was basically saying, like, yeah, do you watch the games though? I've sent an NFL Sunday ticket, and like he like spends like 15 to 20 seconds celebrating. We at least should have like a time cap on there. I'm like, first off, you're a Miami Dolphins fan, and every Sunday you cheer for Ndamukong Suh, who used to stomp on people's heads during the game.
And the other funny thing is,
come on, timing, go Stu, murder a man.
It's literally, the whole thing is an abysmal embarrassment of pasty mayonnaise white America. And that's the thing. If that happened in Phil, like when Cam Newton played the Eagles, everyone was like, "Damn, Cam Newton's awesome." I didn't really even hear any Eagles fans complain. As soon as he goes to Tennessee, the fucking Tennessee mother has to say something like, "What am I supposed to tell my kids?" I'm like, I don't know. I hope they tell you, "Fuck you." Your kids. I hope your kids don't.
I hope they kill you in your sleep.
I hope your kids don't get into college. I hope they fall down a flight of steps and you have to take care of them forever. And the best thing, I hope that they're in a wheelchair, and that you hope that just so you can foster conversation between you and your little potato sack kid, is you can be, look at that nice man dancing, and it becomes a positive in your life. Not enough take for you?
I hope Cam Newton goes up to the kid who's in the wheelchair like he usually does, right?
He's such a great dude.
Ball in front of him.
Part about this. They're like, oh, look, he's so cocky. He's like the nicest guy off the field. He does as much charity as anybody in the NFL, and they're mad because he's dancing.
Now, what is cocky? I don't even understand. It's like, okay, this guy just hurled a ball 88 yards downfield. I'd be like, wow. Everyone gather around me. I'm about to do a long dance. That was amazing.
The other team would start clapping if I could do that.
He literally stiff arms defensive lineman like it's nothing. This guy deserves to wear a sign that just says, "I'm the best." Holy shit, I'm the best.
And then last night, J.J. Watt makes the worst joke of all time when he's like fired up. And people are like, "Oh, dude, he killed Andy Dalton." And I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't know. He's like, "We turned him into the red BB gun." And I'm like, what does that even mean? You just made that up. That isn't a thing.
It's so corny. I mean, he's just... And did you see Andy Dalton today? Got super upset about it. He's like, I guess it's just... he is. I'm like, dude, you suck, okay? I saw you change your haircut to make yourself look cooler, but you're the world's worst quarterback, so shut up.
Someone should play that song from remember the old Gears of War commercial? It's like, all around me are familiar places. Someone should just play that sad music with Andy Dalton's press conference going on.
It's so bad. Listen, quick update. I just want to show you the state of Philly sports before we go on to the next topic. So my phone lit up, and I took a look at it really quick. 21 seconds in the Flyers game. Flyers are up 2-1, and Milan Lucic scores. Like,
Of course, Milan Lucic of all
21
players.
seconds left in the game. Guaranteed Nick Schultz was on the ice. But anyway, you know, we'll do this now before we go into our listicle here. But really quick, just give it to me briefly since we're running through this. Do you think the Eagles make the playoffs? And prediction for the I don't want to know records or anything. Just yes or no, do they make the playoffs? And also, do they win this game?
No, they. Oh, I'm gonna
Game.
say. I'm gonna say no. They missed the playoffs. I'm gonna say, um, sure, whatever. Probably not. I don't know. Sure, they win. Who cares? It does. It really. None of these games really. They don't really feel like they have any meaning to them. But so far this year, they're 4-0 in games where they absolutely must have to win, and they're 0-5 in games where it's like, well, you probably should win, but you can afford to slip up a little bit. So
Yeah.
this feels more like a must-win game. So they'll probably win, and then they'll probably beat the Lions, and then they'll get to the Patriots and they'll fucking lose because they only win the must-win games. So I guess.
Yep. Austin.
That's kind of how I felt too. I'm like, if I have to pick if they're gonna win, probably like 51% to 49. I guess maybe Tampa's playing okay. We don't know who's going to show up. Mark Sanchez is probably going to throw 2 picks. That interception in the end zone was the most predictable thing in
Yeah, but
Philly
that was a
sports
good throw.
history.
That was actually a really good throw. I hate blaming that on Sanchez, but anyway, it was a great throw. If that's Jordan Matthews, all he has to do is he just has to sky grab that ball right in front of the safety, who's not going to catch him because he's getting boxed out, and it's an easy touchdown. He rolls into the end zone. Pierre Garcon caught it with his fucking heart artery against the Eagles to win the game, and fucking Miles Austin couldn't catch it by himself, basically, in the end zone.
And when it comes to the playoffs, I'll say, I don't know, I'm like 30% they make the playoffs.
So no, then.
So
I'm leaning towards no, but I mean, I don't know what percentage I'd have on the Giants or Redskins either. I don't see the Cowboys winning out, so I don't see how the Cowboys could make it. So it's a 3-team race.
Yeah.
All the teams look below average. So I guess the Eagles have a chance. There's no standout team right now, but I'd probably lean towards saying the Giants right now.
All right. I think this is where the wheels really fall off on the season, which is going to seem like a really bad thing, but at some point they were going to anyway. I think that the Eagles I think this is Jameis Winston's really coming out week. I think that this is the weekend where both sides of the ball look bad. And I think that they end the year with 9 losses, and I don't think they make the playoffs.
I thought Mark Sanchez was going to look better, and
Well, I think that he may. I don't think Bradford's very good, so by default he may. What I'm saying is, I think that this is the game where it's like 28-15, and it's just horrible, and you realize the Eagles are one of the worst teams in the NFL. That's where we're going. We're headed towards 7-9 pretty easily. I think. I don't know. Do they beat the Lions? Probably.
That's the worst record you can have.
That's why we're gonna fucking have it. Welcome to Philadelphia. Hello.
Because like 7-10, you could be like, okay, they're bad, but they'll still get a decent draft pick. 8-8, you could be like, okay, it was just as bad as it. 7-9 is the worst thing you can. That's the worst thing you can be.
Yep, it really is. Anyway, our list this week, Porter. I'm gonna let you go first, just because you're only gonna have one. We're gonna do our top 5 favorite Eagles memories.
My number one favorite Eagles memory is when Ronnie Brown fucking against the 49ers.
Oh, it's horrible.
That's all I have to say. That is the Eagles in a nutshell.
Yep.
That play.
I believe that's the game that was that the same day that Cliff Lee blew that lead. I think that was one of the worst days in Philadelphia sports history.
Yep.
Definitely is.
Worst day in Philadelphia sports history. Austin, go ahead. I'll let you go first.
Okay. So number 5, this would be number 1 if they won the Super Bowl that year like they should have. 4th and 26.
Yeah.
At that moment in time, I was, let's see, how old was I? Probably 12. I was like bawling my eyes out. I'm like, I can't believe this is happening again. It's 4th and 26. You can never make 4th and 26. And Freddie Mitchell, of all people, Donovan makes a great throw. Freddie Mitchell gets in between a couple defenders, and they pick up 28 yards. And they go on to win that game.
That too. That's how shitty we are. We didn't realize Donovan McNabb literally pulled the game out of his ass. Like, just him. That was a horrible play call. Middle of the field between three players. Oh, great call, Andy. No, Donovan was like, no problem.
Number 4, to the 2006 season when McNabb got hurt and Jeff Garcia came in. Christmas Day, they beat the Cowboys. After the game, he looks at the camera and goes, "Merry Christmas, Philadelphia." And not only that, but just knowing that Cowboys fans' Christmas was ruined. Just everybody in Dallas was sad on Christmas. How's that not a great moment?
Yeah.
And honestly, last year on Thanksgiving, if they went on to make the playoffs last year, that would probably be on this list. But since they missed the playoffs, they didn't. But that was awesome last year when they ruined Cowboys fans' Thanksgiving as well.
Yep.
Number 3, it's kind of like a whole season moment. The whole 2004 season was awesome, but the main moment I picked was just the day we got T.O. That was because at that time T.O. was one of the 3 most explosive players in the NFL.
Yep.
And like, holy shit, he's an Eagle. We were so close to the Super Bowl.
He's on the Baltimore Ravens for like a second. You remember that?
I know. He fucked the
He
Baltimore Ravens.
was at the Ravens, and we're like, he wants to come here, and he's with the Ravens. And the day that it actually happened, I remember everybody was in school like celebrating, like, holy shit, we got T.O., we got T.O. And then it lived up to fruition. He went to the Super Bowl that year.
Yep.
He played great in the Super Bowl.
They brought that up on BGN Radio about how the one year that the Eagles have truly valued the wide receiver position, they went to the Super Bowl.
Yep, it's true. When they valued it properly, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a huge issue. Anyway, keep going. That was a great one.
Number 2, this was the game right before my birthday, so I'm like, oh, great, they're going to ruin my birthday. They were down by, 21 or 24 to the Giants.
Oh, God,
Vic leads that massive comeback, ending with that Deshaun return. And he dropped that ball, and I'm like, oh, no, and he picked it up, and I'm like, holy shit, he's gone. He's gone. I couldn't believe they won that game.
I couldn't believe they won that game.
And it was against the Giants. But my number 1 moment, 44-6. That was just the pinnacle of being a sports fan. There were the 2 early games. I forget who it was. I think it was the
Tampa
Raiders who had to win.
The Raiders.
And the Bucks.
Tampa
The
lost.
Bucks had to lose. Yeah, that's it. That's what it was.
That was like the craziest.
And I was watching both those games.
The running back. Who was the running back for the Raiders that just went off?
Michael
that
Bush.
Was it like Lamont Jordan or I don't know. It was one of those random guys who probably never had another good game. Michael Bush. That's it. It was Michael Bush. And I was like, oh my God, we have a chance. We are going to play for the division. And then my heart was pumping. And then I was calm in like 1 quarter because they were killing them. They kept sacking Romo and running balls back. It was so great. And later that day, I won a dance competition with Jennifer Lawrence, and that was my number 1 Eagles moment.
That Mayo Lord's going to be so mad that you were.
I love the parlay. I do one with my dad every week.
All right, here's my honorable mention. 4th and 26. I loved it. But I was so young and it happened so fast that I feel like I look back on it with just did that even really happen? I was in such a panic that we were going to lose that game that when it happened, the next play was already happening. You didn't even have time to celebrate it, So that's why it was an honorable mention for me. It was really great, but at the end of the game, it was such a whirlwind. I wasn't even able to enjoy it almost. Number 5, Chip Kelly's debut. We had no idea what it was going to look like. And they came out and they beat the fuck out of the Redskins in the first half. And everyone was talking just so much shit, just all these other fans, about Chip Kelly and it's a gimmick and this offense is not going to work. Dan Graziano and his stupid eyes and face and mouth and his typing and his horrible opinions. Everyone was quiet. And Eagles fans were on top of the world for that one half where all of a sudden the NFL was going like, uh-oh, we got a problem. And it was great.
Remember Sports Illustrated predicted us to lose that game 42-0?
We were supposed to go.
They had to apologize after.
Oh, what were we supposed to go? 0-16 that year? They
It
predicted
was
us to go
something
0-16.
horrible like that. We were going to have the first pick in the draft.
Yeah, it was pathetic. The next, number 4, I have 44-6. That was an awesome, awesome memory. But we were so bad that season that it took a little bit away from it because it was like this season. Like if 44-6 happened now, I'd be like, this is amazing. But like also like fuck the Eagles. They're so bad. They don't even deserve it, honestly. They played it was the same thing that season. But that was one of the days where, you know, it was almost like I remember being with my family during it. It was amazing.
They got hot that season though at the right fucking time, dude.
They got to the NFC Championship and they should have won it.
They needed cataclysmic things to happen to get into the playoffs, which means you're not a good team.
No, I agree, but they got hot at the right time. The Ravens weren't good the year they won the Super Bowl. The Giants weren't good the one year they won the Super Bowl.
Great. I'm not saying it's a bad. I mean, it's on my list of favorite memories. Number 3 is it's not the day we got T.O., but I actually went to Terrell Owens' debut against the New York Giants, and he caught 3 touchdowns. And there was Giants fans around me, and everyone was singing that T.O., 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 and it was insane. Like, everyone was streaming out of the stadium, and you could tell, you could feel Super Bowl. And that's the last time where I remember Philadelphia fans being confident and getting rewarded for it. Like
that was the most fun I've ever had as a sports fan. Even when the Phillies won the World Series, 2004 was more fun to me. Because the 100%. Whole year we were just dominating teams.
World Series is probably my top 3 maybe, but it's certainly not 1 or 2. Also, in that game, the hardest hit of Eli Manning's career by Jerome McDougal. He got put in at the end of the game, and he turned around, and he got fucking blasted by Jerome McDougal, and I lost my mind in the stands. Number 2 is the Miracle in the Meadowlands, I guess 3, for Deshaun Jackson. That is definitely the most emotions I've ever felt in football. We were screaming so loud, things were falling off of our shelves and at my parents' house and like crashing. My mom was screaming because we were breaking things in the house. When he scored, I ran outside into the street. Like I couldn't control where I was running. There was nothing I could do at that point. And one thing I remember is my brother doesn't really watch football, but he definitely is connected through me and through my dad. And he was screaming so loudly. For a person that didn't care, you saw what that type of miracle captivated everybody watching it. And it was as much fun as I've ever had. And then number 1, winning the NFC Championship game against the Atlanta Falcons. I know that it was you know, there was no like big moments. It was just a solid win. But to get over the hump and to be the NFC champions, that was a big deal. That was a fun day. I felt like we were finally on top of that. That was the closest that we've ever been to a championship.
It snowed the night before, I think, because I remember going out and like throwing snow. It was so much fun.
Yeah, you know what? We win that fucking Super Bowl too if Chad Lewis doesn't break his Lisfranc. So that's Philly sports for you. Let me tell you. But those are my top 5, and I'd give anything to get another one back. But yeah, this isn't the year.
We were talking about if they won the Super Bowl, I would get arrested because I would never stop partying. I would never sleep again. I would party and then die, and that would be it.
It would be an ad. My life would just be an ad for double chocolate stouts, and I would have 48 of them. It would be amazing. But yeah, the day they win the Super Bowl, I'm going to cry and drink and party, and it's just going to be the best day ever. And that is why Philadelphia fans get fucking mad when you take Jordan Hicks in the 3rd round, and why they have to know immediately who won this trade and who won that trade, is because we are addicted to wanting a Super Bowl. And I think it's probably unhealthy, but we're all doing it together, and I think it's what makes Philadelphia awesome.
Just give me one. I just need one. I'm not greedy. I don't need to go around talking about how many rings I have. I just want to party really hard one time.
I just want to drop to my knees and scream in euphoria. That's what I want. But anyway, Porter, you want to close us out here?
See ya.
Good.